Good evening. Hopefully, we'll get this video in tonight. I've got grading done, so let's see if I can't get another video up. First thing is let's share. All right. Last video, we talked about the 5-number summary. You just didn't realize it. The 5-number summary starts with the Q1, median, and Q3. Well, now I'm going to add the min and the max. We need these 5-number summaries so that we can draw a box plot. So here's the steps of drawing a box plot. I'm going to skip that for a minute. And we have to start with the 5-number summary. So it's telling me to use data sets 3, 1, 31. So that means off to StatCrunch and all that do we go. So I'm on my math. By now, I hope you guys are doing this a little quicker. All right. StatCrunch. And since we're using a data set from the textbook, it's a 3, 1. And just to double check. Yeah, 31. Double checking. Boom. Now, to do this, I'm going to do sample size of 12. And I want it ascending. All right. So there's my data. And they said this time we're going to do it by hand. So my data I did cheat a little bit. And I let it sort for me. Otherwise, I don't think we all want to be here for basically an hour. All right. That should be my 12 numbers. All right. So remember how we determined the median? Because the 5 numbers is 1. I've got to find the min, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. Well, the min and the max is not too terrible. I see 70 and 124. And I'm going to give you a hint. Those can change. But next piece of data I'd go for is the median. Because remember, how do we do this? We've got to find the middle number, and then we do the left half and the right half. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So since this is even, I've got to add those two together. (100) plus 102 equals 202, which I now divide by 2. which is 101. So my median here is 101. Now, I split the data in half. And again, I find the median of the left half, which would be 92 plus 98. Which is what, 190? And then I divide that by 2. And I see a 95 for Q1. I'm going to do the same thing now for the right half. Again, I need to find a number between those two, guys. We're going to add them, divide by 2, but I think we can kind of see that 107 is halfway between both of them. So I've got my 5 digits. And that is determining my 5-number summary by hand. Now, I'm going to need something called what? An IQR. Do you remember how we found the IQR? We took Q3 and subtracted off Q1. So my IQR is 107 minus 95, which is 12. So I have a 12 for an IQR. So now it says to determine if there are any outliers. Remember how we did it? We had a lower fence, which was Q1 minus 1.5. And yes, you'll need to know some of these formulas, times the IQR. And my upper fence was Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR, not IQT, you can't type. All right. So lower fence. Q1 was 95. And handy dandy calculator. I wish you guys could see it when I pop this up. So basically we get 95 minus 18. That's what is so we get 77. 1.5 times 12 is 18, guys. All right. So now for the upper fence. And that's my Q3, 107, plus 1.5 times 12. Again, basically it's 107 plus 18, which should be what, 125? Let me pull the calculator up just to double check myself. Yep, 125. So I'm going to look, is there any numbers smaller than the lower fence? And the answer is yes. 70. So we have an outlier. We have a 70. Now, do we have a number bigger than 125? The answer is no. So we only have one outlier. Now, with that being said, my new min is actually 83. And you'll see why here in just a minute. All right. All right. Now it's saying download 3 and use the column 2 data. It's the one we just used. And determine the 5-number and construct a policy box plot. Well, we've already got the numbers done. It's part of the reason why I did what it did. We want this one. Do you remember how we did the 5 numbers? It was stat, summary stats, columns. I want to click that. All right, I want the min. Hold the control button. I want Q1. I want the median. I want Q3 and max. That'll give me my 5 number summary. Now I am going to do one more thing. I want the IQR. Compute. All right. So it says 70, 95, 101, 107, 124, 12. Do believe those are the same numbers we just found. All right. Now box plot. We want graph and box plot. We want the 12 size. And I typically like my box plots horizontally. And we're going to use fences to identify outliers. Boom. Now, this is what a box plot looks like. Please note the dot. The dot is the outlier that we found. Now, remember I said the min changes when we're going to do the box plot. Since the true minimal is now an outlier, we go to the piece of data that is one step bigger than the lower fence. If our lower fence was what? Remember? With 77, I'm going to look at this piece of data. So my new min would become 83. So let's look. If I move the cursor over, look what it says. Lower limit 83. That is a whisker. It's giving you all the numbers. Since we didn't have a outlier on top, there's no dots on the top, but outliers appear as dots on box plots. All right. And again, yes. So let's try this again. This time, I'm going to do 2 data sets. Remember the Wendy's versus McDonald's? All right. I'm going to reopen because, yeah, I still have the data set. Boom, Control A, Control C. Take it back to StatCrunch. You don't still have it downloaded. All right, why are you doing what you're doing? Control A, Control C. There we go. For some reason, it was saying I had selected something else. Boom. There is the data. I hope this is coming through. it's giving me a box, so I can't see what you guys can see. So I hope you're seeing this. If not, let me stop share for a second. There we go. Sometimes I got to reset a little bit. You guys can't ever see it. I'm so sorry. All right, so doing a box plot for a comparison. It's still the graph box plot. This time I'm going to do the wait times. Remember the group by? I'm going to group by restaurant. I still like my horizontal. Now look at it. With the Wendy's, we have two outliers. Where McDonald's, there's no outliers. There we go. It's all right. So which one of those was more consistent? That's what the question is. For some reason, this is not wanting. Which one looks more consistent? No, it's which box plot is the tighter box plot? Wendy's. Wendy's has the more consistent time. All right. All right. Okay. Now, just so you guys know, box plots and histograms do kind of line up. Because if you look at this, the box plot should be where the data humps the most. All right. See how this was skewed to the right? See how the tail goes out to the right? Well, our whisker is longer on the right. This one is skewed left, so you definitely tell we have a longer whisker to the left. The biggest part of our box is here, but a little shortened up to the right. This one's pretty well symmetrical. Look at the box plot. It's not quite, but it's close. This whisker, I think, is just a hair longer than this one, but it's close enough. But you can see from a box plot by the length of the whiskers that they're skewing. So looking at this, I've got 3 here. Let's see if we can match them up. So we got 1, 2, 3. All right. Looking at this, we don't have some very pretty ones, do we? So let's go for the skewed better, because I don't see any that's really nicely symmetric. So let's look at 2. See how 2 really does have a long tail? If I was to try to draw a bell on that, we have a long tail going to the left. So we have some skewing. It's skewed left. So looking at the 3 box plots, which one has a whisker that's long to the left? Well, you all should be screaming C at me. Looking at 3, see how we have, I tried to draw the bell, how it's drawn to the right. This one is skewed right. So I need a whisker that is the longest on the right. And that goes to A. That means that B matches to 1. It's the closest one we have to being symmetric. But you notice it kind of has a slight skewing to the left. Notice that this side whisker is a little bit longer than this side. That one's the hardest one to guess, but the other two, not too bad. So we did it by elimination. Okay. Well, hopefully this was a decent video. I noticed that my system was acting up and not jumping with me, but I apologize to that. I try to watch the little box. So good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.